The Miami Heat are an American professional basketball team based in Miami, Florida. The Heat compete in the National Basketball Association as a member of the league's Eastern Conference Southeast Division. They played their home games at the American Airlines Arena in downtown Miami. The team owner is Micky Arison, who also owns cruise ship giant Carnival Corporation. The team president and de facto general manager is Pat Riley, and the head coach is Erik Spoelstra. The mascot of the team is Bernie, an anthropomorphic fireball. Formed in 1988 as an expansion team, the Heat have won 3 league championships, 5 conference titles and 11 division titles. From February 3 to March 27, 2013, the Heat won 27 games in a row, the third longest streak in NBA history. In 2016, Forbes valued the Heat at $1.3 billion as the 10th most valuable among NBA franchises. The Heat are not related to the Miami Floridians, an American Basketball Association team in the early 1970s, although the Heat have occasionally paid tribute to the older franchise by wearing a replica version of the Floridians' uniforms for the NBA's Hardwood Classics nights during the 2005-06 and 2011-12 seasons. Franchise history: 1988 to 2003, early years in Miami. An expansion team formed in 1988, the Miami Heat began their early years with much mediocrity, only making the playoffs 2 times in the first 8 years and falling in the first round both times. 1995 to 2003, title hopefuls upon the purchasing of the franchise by Micky Arison in 1995. Pat Riley was brought in as the team president and head coach. Riley acquired center Alonzo Mourning and point guard Tim Hardaway to serve as the centerpieces for the team, transforming Miami into a championship contender throughout the late 1990s. With them they also brought in a new team trainer, Cody Passelt, to work on shooting. The Heat underwent a dramatic turnaround in the 1996-97 season, improving to a 61-21 record, a franchise record at the time, and currently second best in team history. That same year, Miami earned the moniker of Road Warriors for its remarkable 32-9 record on the road. On the backs of Hardaway and Mourning, the Heat achieved the first 2 series victories in the playoffs, making it to the conference finals against the Michael Jordan-led Chicago Bulls before losing in 5 games. The biggest rivals of the time were the New York Knicks, Riley's former team, who would eliminate the Heat in the playoffs from 1998 through 2000. A period of mediocrity followed after, highlighted by missing the playoffs in 2002 and 2003. 2003 to 2016, the Dwyane Wade era in the 2003 NBA draft. With the 5th overall pick, Miami selected shooting guard Dwyane Wade out of Marquette. Free agent wingman Lamar Odom was signed from the Los Angeles Clippers. Just prior to the start of the 03-04 season, Riley stepped down as head coach to focus on rebuilding the Heat, promoting Stan Van Gundy to the position of head coach. Behind Van Gundy's leadership, Wade's stellar rookie year and Odom's breakout season, the Heat made the 2004 NBA playoffs, beating the New Orleans Hornets 4-3 in the first round and losing to the Indiana Pacers 4-2 in the second round. In the off-season, Riley engineered a summer blockbuster trade for Shaquille O'Neal from the Los Angeles Lakers. Alonzo Mourning returned to the Heat in the same season, serving as a backup to O'Neal. Returning as championship contenders, Miami finished with a 59-23 record, consequently garnering the first overall seed in the Eastern Conference. Sweeping through the first round and the semi-finals, Miami went back to the conference finals for the first time in 8 years, where it met the defending champion Detroit Pistons. Despite taking a 3-2 lead, Miami lost Wade to injury for Game 6. It would go on to lose Game 7 at home despite Wade's return. 2005-2006 championship season. In the summer of 2005, Riley brought in veteran free agent Gary Payton from the Boston Celtics, and also brought in James Posey, Jason Williams and Antoine Walker via trades. After a disappointing 11-10 start to the 05-06 season, Riley relieved Van Gundy of his duties and took back the head coaching job. The Heat made it to the conference finals in 2006 and in a rematch, defeated the Pistons, winning the series 4-2. Making its first NBA Finals appearance, they played the Dallas Mavericks, who won the first 2 games in Dallas in routes. The Heat then won the next 4 games, capturing its first ever championship. Wade won the Finals MVP award. 2006-2010 post-championship struggles. The Heat experienced 4 years of post-title struggles from 2007 through 2010, including a 4-0 sweep by the Chicago Bulls in the first round of the 2007 NBA playoffs. In the 07-08 season, Wade was plagued by injuries and the Heat had a league-worst 15-67 record. O'Neal was traded to Phoenix midway through the season. Riley resigned as head coach following the season but retained his position as team president. Longtime assistant Eric Spoelstra was promoted to head coach. A healthy Wade led the Heat to 43 wins in 2009 and 47 wins 2010, making the playoffs both seasons, though they lost in the first round, 4-3 in 2009 and 4-1 in 2010. Wade was the scoring champion in 2009 and the NBA All-Star MVP in 2010. 2010-2014, the Big Three era, entering the 2010-2011 season with nearly $48 million in salary cap space. The Heat caused a major power shift during the blockbuster 2010 NBA free agency, adding Chris Bosh and LeBron James, starting the Big Three era. However, the Heat got off to a 9-8 start. After 8 players-only meeting, the team improved. The Heat finished with a 58-24 record and the second seed. In the much-anticipated 2011 NBA playoffs, Miami defeated the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round, Boston Celtics in the conference semi-finals, and Bulls in the conference finals, all in 5 games. The Heat reached the 2011 NBA Finals for the first time since 2006, in a rematch against the Dallas Mavericks. After taking a 2-1 series lead, the Heat lost the final 3 games to the Mavericks. After the second NBA lockout ended, the Heat signed veteran Shane Battier. In the shortened 2011-12 season, the Heat started 27-7. However, they would struggle for the second half of the season, going 19-13. The Heat finished 46-20, earning the second seed in the East for the NBA playoffs. Entering the first round, they took a 3-0 lead against the New York Knicks, but like the previous series with the Sixers, weren't able to close them out in Game 4. A victory in Game 5 ultimately defeated New York and the Heat advanced to the second round versus the Indiana Pacers. After losing Game 2 at home and Game 3 at Indiana, many criticized Dwyane Wade's lackluster performance in Game 3. bringing attention to the fact that he got into a verbal argument with Spoelstra. However, with Wade visiting his former college coach, the team defeated the Pacers in the next 3 games. To close out the Pacers, they met the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, taking the first 2 games before losing the next 3, including one home loss where Bosh returned from injury. On June 7, they won on the road at Boston, beating the Celtics 98-79 to tie the series 3-3. James had 45 points and 15 rebounds. The deciding Game 7 was at Miami. The Celtics largely dominated during the first half. The second half saw several lead changes. The Heat eventually won 101-88, reaching the NBA Finals for the second straight year. In the much-anticipated matchup with the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Heat split the first 2 games, winning Game 2 on the road, before sweeping the next 3 at home. James was named the Finals MVP as he won his first NBA championship. On July 11, 2012, the Heat officially signed veterans Ray Allen to a 3-year contract and Rashard Lewis to a 2-year contract. The Heat would go on a 27-game winning streak between February 3, 2013 and March 27, 2013, defeating Orlando in the season finale, set the franchise record for 66 wins in a season. By the end of the season, the Heat won 18 of its 19 road games, the best streak on the road to end a season in NBA history. The Heat went 17-1 in March, becoming the first team to win 17 games in a single calendar month. The Heat ended with a franchise best and league best 66-16 record to take the first seed in the 2013 NBA playoffs. They swept the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round and defeated Chicago in 5 games before winning against the Indiana Pacers in Game 7. Miami became the first Eastern Conference team to reach the NBA Finals in 3 straight years since the Chicago Bulls in the late 1990s. Miami lost Game 1 of the Finals on the home floor in a close game that was decided by a last-minute buzzer beater by Tony Parker. The Heat went on to win Game 2 with a 33-5 run in the second half. The two teams continued to trade wins leading up to Game 6, where the Spurs, up 10 heading in the fourth quarter, were in position to close out the series and win the championship. James went on to score 16 points in the period, outscoring the entire Spurs team by himself at one point. The Heat went on to defeat the Spurs 95-88 in Game 7 behind a 37-point and 12-rebound performance from James and a 23-point and 10-rebound effort from Wade. Shane Battier also scored 18 points behind 6-8 shooting from 3, after having a shooting slump during the postseason up to that point. The Heat captured the NBA title for a second year in a row, becoming the first team in the Eastern Conference to repeat as league champions since the late 1990s Chicago Bulls. James was named the NBA Finals MVP, becoming the 5th player to win the award back-to-back along with Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and Hakeem Olajuwon, and only the 2nd player in NBA history to win the Finals MVP and League MVP back-to-back along with Jordan. Miami struggled throughout the 2013-14 season with extended absences of Dwyane Wade, who only played 54 games to injury and ended on a 11-14 record entering the postseason. They entered the playoffs as the Eastern Conference second seed with a record of 54-28 team, and with the Big Three healthy, they went 12-3 in the first 3 rounds. They swept the Charlotte Bobcats. They then beat the Brooklyn Nets 4-1. They went on to play the first-seeded 56-26 Pacers in the conference finals, in a rematch of the previous year's conference finals. The Pacers were eliminated from the playoffs for a third consecutive year by the Heat. The Heat went to a fourth consecutive finals, and faced the Spurs again. The first two games in San Antonio were split, but the Heat fell to the Spurs 4-1, failing to repeat as champions for the third consecutive season. 2014-2016, post-Big Three era. On July 11, 2014, LeBron James announced on SI.com that after opting out of the final year of his contract, he would leave the Heat and return to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Wade and Bosh stayed in Miami. Like the Cavaliers in the 2010 off-season, the Heat focused on how it would maintain itself without LeBron. Wade and Bosh were joined by returning players Mario Chalmers, Norris Cole, Udonis Haslem and Chris Anderson, along with former rivals Luol Deng and Danny Granger. The Heat also drafted Shabazz Napier and James Ennis. In 2015, they also gained Goran Dragic and his younger brother Zoran Dragic. After a season with several injuries, including to Chris Bosh and Josh McRoberts, the Heat finished with a 37-45 record, the NBA's 10th worst. They failed to make the playoffs after being Eastern Conference champions 4 straight years. It was the second time in Wade's career they did not qualify for the postseason. The Heat were the first team since the 2004-05 Los Angeles Lakers to miss the playoffs after going to the NBA Finals the previous year. Miami had qualified for the playoffs for 6 consecutive seasons. At the 2015 NBA Draft Lottery, Miami was awarded the 10th pick for the 2015 NBA Draft, which was used to select Duke forward Justice Winslow. During the 2015-2016 season, the Heat compiled the 48-34 regular season record. However, the season was ended at the hands of the Toronto Raptors in the Eastern Conference semi-finals of the playoffs. The wild 2016 free agency was marked with relationship issues and disagreements between Dwyane Wade and Heat president Pat Riley, mostly focusing on how much Wade would get paid. On July 6, 2015, 2016 present, post-Wade era. After a period suspense, Wade announced that he was leaving the Heat to go join his hometown Chicago Bulls. Uniforms. 1988-1999 uniforms, unveiled prior to the 1988-89 season. The original Miami Heat uniforms consist of simple striping, exclusive only on the right side of the jersey and shorts. The home uniforms were white with lettering in red, black and orange trim, while the away uniforms were black with red, white and orange trim. The numbers were white with red, black and orange trim, using the same font as the classic Los Angeles Lakers jerseys. The original Flaming Ball logo is on the left leg of the shorts, while the word Miami is on the right leg. In the 1995-96 season, the Heat introduced a red alternate uniform with lettering and numbers in black, white and orange trim. The original set lasted until the 1998-99 season. The original white and red uniforms were reintroduced as throwback uniforms during the Heat's 20th and 25th anniversary seasons, respectively, while the original black uniforms were used as throwbacks in the 2013-14 season. The classic white uniforms were used again for the 2015-16 season. 1999 present uniforms. The current Heat uniforms have been in use since the 1999-2000 season. These uniforms, though similar, have marked differences such as striping on both sides, change from orange to yellow trim, updated lettering and block numbers, and a modified red flaming ball logo on the right leg. The black away uniform numbers are now consistent with the lettering colors. The alternate red uniform was introduced during the 2001-02 season, and features the city name and numbers in white with black trim, with subtle changes like the Miami wordmark on the black uniforms and addition of the MH alternate logo on the shorts. These uniforms remain in use with the Heat today. Special uniforms. Since the 2008 season, the Heat participated in the NBA's Noche Latina promotions, or Latin Nights. From 2008 to 14, the Heat wore a modified version of the black uniforms, featuring the word mark L Heat. A sleeved version was used in 2014. For the 2015 season, the Heat wore the white uniforms with the L Heat wordmark, followed by the Noche Latina version of the red alternates in the 2016 season. The Heat wore a variation of the current home uniforms on the opening night of the 2012-13 season, with gold accents and a patch of the Larry O'Brien Championship trophy on the right chest. They used another variation on opening night of the 2013-14 season, this time with gold lettering. During the 2013-14 season, the Heat wore a variation of the current home uniforms, but with the players' names at the back replaced by the nicknames. They wore the uniforms for select home games that season. From 2012 to 14, the Heat wore special monochrome uniforms, an all-black ensemble in the 2012 season, an all-white version in the 2013 season, and an all-red attire in the 2014 season. In 2015, a variation of their all-black uniforms, featuring drop shadows, scented numbers and heavy striping inspired from a tuxedo, was used. The 2015-16 season saw the unveiling of two special uniforms. One featured a blend of modern and classic styles, while the other is a military-inspired uniform. The Heat also participated in the Christmas Day games wearing special uniforms. In 2012, they wore monochrome red uniforms known as Big Color. The following year, they wore their Big Low-guard sleeved uniforms, featuring a chrome-treated version of their flaming ball logo. In 2014, the Heat wore a variation of the home uniform, featuring the primary logo and scented numbers in front, and black nameplates with the player's first name below the number at the back. The Heat have also honored the ABA's Miami Floridians by donning throwback uniforms. First the road jerseys in the 2005-06 season, then the home jerseys in the 2011-12 season.